Howdy y'all, and welcome back to my channel. And today we have just a more talky sort of video. I feel like I've been doing a fair amount of those on my channel recently because we being successful with that low buy whether we want to be or not. Rather than a choice so much right now, it's just a fact of life. But today we're going to be doing a video that I believe I have done once before on my channel. If I have, I will leave that link down below. But that is talking about opinions based around YouTube and beauty and makeup and sort of the community and platform that I'm on that have changed. Obviously, for any of y'all who have been with me since the beginning, you have seen transformation, you have seen opinions change, hopefully going from to better. Obviously, opinions are opinions and we've all got whatevers, but there have been a lot of things that y'all know I've been doing the makeup rotation, we're doing the declutter, I'm doing a myriad of things that have made me really stop and think about my mentality when it comes to these things. And one thing has been some very significant just attitudes and opinions and the way that I thought that have shifted and changed based on my experience, based on, just after my time on YouTube and after really getting to know myself as a beauty consumer, as a consumer on a whole, as someone who's really figured out what she wants to do with the face. We've just come to certain realizations. So we are going to be talking about those today. I got my cute little list of whatever here going on. So the first thing I'm going to discuss, which is kind of the start into a couple different points, but the first makeup opinion thought whatever I had was that everything was good. Back when I first started on this and I was just going out and buying makeup willy-nilly, I was very much into the whole I had to have everything, I had to use everything, I had to like everything. And as such, I developed a mindset that was just, everything is good. Whether it's high-end, drugstore, blush, eyeshadow, foundation, I just kind of went on in thinking that no matter what I bought, the product was, good. Obviously, this mindset has changed because I have learned, maybe it's because at a time when I was younger, I had a face that was, less aged. Maybe I was more likely to be able to be like, okay, all right, the majority of what I'm trying is good because I didn't know any better. Back during this time, I was like, yeah, Too Faced is banging. I love me some Revlon eyeshadow. Not saying that these things are bad, but saying now in my more discerning nature, I'm not saying that everything is good. I'm actually taking research and trial and error and all of that to make my opinion about whether something is good other than just going at something that I've purchased and therefore it has intrinsic value and is a quality product. Because we all know that that is not the case with any makeup company or any makeup product. Everything is subject to scrutiny, which kind of goes into, I'm pretty sure I talked about this in my first one, if I did do this one, but the initial, everything is good. The next one is high-end brands cannot have bad products. Yo, we have reached a level of wokeness on this channel because I guess I was just parading around like an ignorant little whatever. Because if there is anything that I know now, it is that high-end products can and do and will continue to have bad products. I don't know if I was just stupid. It's probably just a level of ignorance at the beginning. You're just going in, you're like, oh, everything is good. And when you're starting out and you don't have as much experience, you don't have, as much of a curated sense of self. And honestly, there was probably at some point in my life where I was doing my makeup, how so, whatever. I wouldn't be able to tell you a good eyeshadow from a bad eyeshadow anyway. But that level of esteem that I held high-end items to is just like, oh, which to a certain degree at the time, it was more kind of, I've talked about this a couple different times on my channel, where there was a time where you could kind of see the differentiation, the line drawn between high-end and drugstore. Whereas now the lines of quality, the lines of packaging, basically, one is as good as the other. But at a certain time, you probably could purchase high-end stuff with a bit of, a fair amount of confidence that you are paying that extra premium for extra quality. Whereas now we know for a fact from Too Faced, from Urban Decay, from KVD, from every high-end brand that has ever existed, they release and continue to release duds. And we're not even talking like little duds. We're not talking like a teeny tiny drop in the pond of makeup. No, we're talking big, significant, flailing duds. And so obviously now I am much more aware that yes, high-end does have bad products. And not only do they create bad products, they continue to create bad products and then make excuses for said bad products being created and released. Definitely that romanticism and that fairy tale life of believing and thinking and knowing that high end equates quality and sustainability. It's just not there no more. And I feel like actually when it comes to, drugstore gets duds and high end gets duds, and there isn't that level of passiveness anymore. We're not letting these brands getting off. They release a dud. We let them know. We are holding these companies responsible for the makeup that they are releasing out into the community. Okay, another thing, this is obviously very tied to my original sort of consumer mindset. So I must collect collections. Now, y'all know, like I said, y'all who've been with me for an extended period of time, or you've all have, watched kind of my more recent consumer-based videos. I, at one point in time in my life, was heavily invested in collecting makeup. Now, I am not saying none of y'all need to collect makeup. I have certain things that I definitely do collect. And at one time, I sort of used collecting as kind of like, I don't want to say an excuse. It was like a reasoning, a justification for purchasing certain things that I may or may not use practically, but because it was a collection, that therefore gave me the reasoning to purchase things. For example, something that I actually asked my mother, she bought it for me for my birthday when it came out, the Lorac Beauty and the Beast collection. Did I want it because the neutral colors with a pop of yellow and a pop of blue really set my whatever's going on, or did I want it because it was Beauty and the Beast? I wanted it because it was Beauty and the Beast. This question answers itself. But now I can look at things a lot more objectively and really step back from that sort of collectorism mindset. And I know a lot of people collect, and a lot, makeup is a passion. We love packaging. We love aesthetics. Y'all know I love aesthetics. But at one time, I was just so brainwashed into thinking that if it was a collection and it had collectorism, there's that sort of mentality of when something comes out and it's limited edition and it's, super fancy collection, you get in your mind and you're like, oh my goodness, I need to get this because in a year and a half from now, people are going to be selling this shiz on Poshmark for $250. There was that really sort of heavy need to participate in the hype of the collection that everybody, when everybody wanted to get the Sephora, the original Sephora and Moschino collection, people went crazy for that. And that big old clunky giant teddy bear palette, people were selling for $200 because people really wanted in on this collector bandwagon. And I'm fine with collecting things. Obviously, I like collecting things. But I've reached a point where when it comes to makeup, I like collecting things that give back to me. So for example, if someone were to come out with a palette that was like, I don't know, the aesthetic of the packaging was like, yes, it's me, it's everything. Like for example, if say NARS, not NARS, they're not cruelty free. Let's just say a brand. If a brand were to come out and be like, hey, we are collaborating with Vivienne Westwood. And the packaging was all kinds of tartan and plaid and safety pins and punk and rock and edgy. And then you opened it up and it was a palette filled with taupe, brown, ecru. You know, if they pulled a Bobby Brown and they made this beautiful, amazing, fantastical, aesthetically pleasing packaging, and then they slapped it over top one of the most boring color theories that ever existed, I would hope that now me would be able to pull back from that collectorism, from looking, oh, it's Vivienne Westwood, oh, it's plaid packaging, you know how I feel about plaid. But bringing that into my collection, the only thing it would have going for it is the packaging, is the aesthetic, is the affinity and the love that I have for the creator that they collaborated with and made in conjunction with this collection. Now, if they had gone and they'd done all kinds of crazy, you know, whatever, you know, that's aside. But like, you know, just looking at something like that, I'm getting better at being able to not just completely get sucked into that collectorism just for the sake of collecting if it's not actually going to enrich my makeup game in any way. If I'm able to get a great aesthetic with makeup that's going to enhance my whatevers, that is fantastic. But I'm just stepping back from basing my desire to purchase something on the aesthetic, which has gotten me quite a few times. Okay, this is a very important opinion that has changed. It might be because I was young and stupid. I mean, at this point, I'm like turning 30 and stupid, so not much has changed. But you all will know, at the beginning of my channel, in my YouTube career's infancy, I had the audacity to be like, well, skincare doesn't mean anything. Skincare isn't important. What's important is the makeup. Whereas now y'all know that skincare, if I had to choose between makeup and skincare, it would be skincare. Because I have learned and developed a love, a passion for finding ways to improve my face. There is very little else that gives me the same amount of satisfaction as finding something that works for me, using up a skincare item, and just the process of my skincare routine. Like, that is one of my favorite things of the day. At night, I'm like, all right, have a little sippy sip of whatever. It's time for a little you time. You know, and quite frankly, I mean, skincare is important. I can't tell. People are like, I have a problem with my face. And I'm like, well, have you looked into studying and research a skincare routine that's going to target your problems? And they're usually like, no. And I'm just like, well, there's the problem. I mean, I'm giving you, you know, because I advocate so strongly for skincare. I love skincare. I mean, y'all know I lost my shiz when Good Molecules was all like, hey, what's up? Would you like some skincare stuff? And I'm like, that's it. I have reached my peak on this platform. A skincare company contacted me and wanted to send me stuff. Because skincare is because skincare is so important to different layers of like this. Because if you want to do all of this, I think, what was it I want to say? If you want to live the beat life, you got to live the skincare life. Because investing in good skincare and a routine that is catered to your specific needs, your makeup is gonna apply so much better, gonna look so much better. You're gonna have a more wonderful application experience. Skincare is just one of those things that has become such an important part of my life. I will sit on here and talk moisturizers, primers, serums, eye creams, scrubs. I will talk all day, every day. The level of passion I have for skincare, it's skincare, highlighters, exactly same level. And y'all know how much I love highlighter. Okay, another thing that is kind of really, it's coming recently to me because y'all know that I'm doing a low buy, as we discussed in the beginning of this video. But one thing that I sort of came onto this platform thinking, sort of a preconceived notion I had of being a beauty, lifestyle, whatever channel, is that I had to do hauls. And not only just doing hauls, I had to do like massive, do major damage. If you ain't spending $200, there ain't no point in doing a haul. And I feel like that is a lot perpetuated by this platform. It's not just a beauty community. It's basically anywhere where you can sink your money into something. People are doing excessive hauls. I get a little bit doubly because I love beauty content and I love fashion and style content. So there's kind of like, oh, you're getting it from both sides. And I grew up and I started on the platform watching haul videos. You're like, oh boy, Sephora, oh boy, Ulta, oh boy, Forever 21, Hot Topic. You know, all those things that we love to buy, we're watching other people buy. And at a time, not so much in this climate, I feel, especially this climate right now, but even in the past couple of years, back when I first started, hauls were a lot more viable. They were getting a lot more views. They were a lot more popular, whereas when I do hauls now, they do okay. I honestly get more views when I do anti-hauls or more relatable content, more talky-talky, more discussion-based, you know, rather than it's just me being like, oh look, this is the shiz I bought. And so I feel like it's good that the climate is changing because, well, hauling is great. We all love to buy things that we like, and it's nice to be able to show it to y'all because you're like, oh, look, I'm excited. I got this thing. You know, and then down in the comments, y'all can be all like, oh, I like this thing too. Oh, what's that? Where'd you get that? You know, there's sort of a camaraderie, kind of a friendliness that you get from watching someone else shop. You know, you get to know them a little bit more, their likes, their tastes, their interests, you know, so there is that. But there's also the fact that hauling, buying anything, costs the money. And I think people are becoming just a little bit more aware with kind of how mindlessly consumer based, you know, YouTube has become, especially in the communities that I'm involved with. And so I kind of came on here thinking that in order for me to be a viable beauty, fashion, style, lifestyle content creator, I had to create haul videos. And I've done a myriad of them. And in this year, in 2020, I haven't, because I'm doing that low buy, and I don't find that there's that much really missing from my life. Now, I have done some clothing hauls and stuff like that. We've been a lot better about not buying the makeup as we have been not buying the clothes. But I'm hoping to sort of reach a point where, you know, the occasional haul, you get some birthday money, some Christmas money, you know, tax returns, you know, every once in a while, but not all the time, endlessly, needlessly needing to buy stuff in huge, massive amounts so that I can make a video out of it. Because there are other ways of creating content that I think would benefit me as well as benefit my subscribers more than just getting on camera and being like, oh, look at the stuff I bought. Okay, another thing that was definitely an opinion that has changed, it was definitely an opinion I had back in the day, is that limited edition is a must. Now, this sort of goes into that collectorism because, you know, I did do a video discussing the falsehood of limited edition. I'll leave that down below. But, you limited edition is used as a trope within the community to get people to buy things. Back in the day, I always love how I say, every time I say this, back in the day, like I'm so old, like I've been on this platform so long. But we're talking in the era of, pre-Vice palettes and, that Vice palette era, when limited edition really was a statement of, we've got this many of them, and when they're gone, they're gone. And, kind of coming into YouTube in sort of that era, I guess sort of fostered the need to sort of just panic buy limited edition, no matter what it was. I mean, I can't tell you, when I reached, I feel like the peak of my makeup consumerism, I remember sitting down and like looking through Trend Mood and being like, okay, I want to buy that, I want to buy that, I want to buy that, and desperately trying to figure out if these things were limited edition and if I needed to buy them when they released or if I could wait when I, had the money actually, and that amount of self-induced panic over a makeup product being limited edition is so stupid. I look at the way I used to be and the way I used to think, and I'm like, really? Really? You were stressing out over that? I mean, I remember when the Becca Light Chaser highlighters came out, and I was like, I need them all, and I need them right now, and if they're limited edition, I am going to fling myself off of a cliff. And recently, I don't know if y'all saw or not, but I'm decluttering those. So all of that stress and all of that whatever for nothing. And I feel like there is this narrative. A lot of my stuff goes back into the psychology of consumerism. I feel like there is this sort of perpetuation of having that like intensity and that anxiety. Companies want you to stress over buying things. Companies want you to constantly be thinking about buying things. It's not so much, I don't know if it ever was, but when it comes to marketing, it's not so much, what can this product do for you, so much as it is, what the product makes you believe what the product makes you think that you are going to get from using it. Nowadays we do not sell, okay, this is the product, this is what it does, boom. Now we sell product based on the idea of what you're gonna get. If you get this car, you're gonna be all kinds of famous, whatever. You smoke this cigarette, you're gonna get the girl. It's all based on this fantasy created by the company of an idealized life that you will be granted if you spend your money on these things. So they are literally marketing at its base, at its like deep, dark, whatever is used. It is marketing banking on your most innate, your most primal insecurities. I still need to do this video. I want to do a video talking about is marketing and consumerism psychological warfare. If you'd like to see that kind of video, let me know down below. But I have just been able to finally step back away from all of this, no longer being brainwashed, no longer allowing myself to be pulled in by these big red flags of marketing ploys of limited edition and collections and, all those tropes that the beauty companies use because they know that they work, and I've just reached a point where I'm like, they come out with something and I'm just like, okay. All right, whatever. For me, limited edition at this point is more of a turnoff. Like I see a product that's going to be permanent and I'm like, oh boy. That sort of thing gets me in all kinds of ways more than they're like limited edition. I'm like, oh gosh, is the quality really going to be, there's a lot more thinking and a lot more, I am much less likely to buy something if it's limited edition now than if it's permanent. So I am very grateful to be able to actually look at like my thoughts and my opinions, when starting this channel to where I've developed now, because it's important to accept development and see how you change and admit that in the past and at some point you've had flawed thinking, flawed decision making. Because in order to move forward and to be better, we first have to accept that there's a problem. Obviously, this is all just my personal experience, my thoughts, my developments on consumerism and this community on a whole. Obviously, I would love to hear you all's thoughts about this kind of things. I love getting into more depth videos, especially based, on the consumerism and stuff like that, because there is a lot of undiscussed psychology behind it. We're just kind of going around, you know, shilling and spending and whatever, and we're not really thinking about the deeper thought processes behind it. But thank you guys so much for watching. I love you, and as always, keep it real. Mwah!